All right, so let's now get straight into Mind Your Language, actually. Mind Your Language with none other than Willice, the Word Master, joining us live and direct from Kisumu County. Willice, it's great to see you after 2 weeks. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. And Betty, on our part, that is on my part as well, is from Kisumu, and my cameraman, that is Mburu. If you like, you may call him Nicole, the way they say it this way, or this side. You say Nicole, and we sometimes tell him, Nicole Mburu, how are you? But what I'm saying is we have just felt that it's in order for us to tell you, welcome back, because it's real fire.
Thank you very much, Willice. It is great, honestly, being back here on the screen and learning these difficult pronunciations. Joy did an amazing job, so it's now time for me to take over and continue with these lessons. And so tonight, Willice, we will start with the word treasure. Treasure. That's a word that I've had quite a number of varied pronunciations, Willice. Talk to us about it.
Or we go straight to the words that you have.
Yes,
Willice. So we say treasure.
Okay.
The key, sound here is j. Tricky, but manageable, or you can produce that sound. That is treasure, not treasure. J. That is the voiced sound j. Treasure, just like measure and pleasure.
Pleasure. So it's not pleasure, huh? All right, Willice. This word reminds me of one word, Willice. Completion or completion? Because that's actually from my background, where I come from.
Completion.
Completion. Got it, Willice.
Yes, completion or completion.
Is there a difference there? Completion and completion. Is it the same thing?
What I'm saying, Betty, maybe if you can be, or maybe as a good listener for that matter, you'd pick. In the first one, I'm saying shin. Shin, like what we call a consonant cluster or blend, as if we are not sounding or giving the sound O. But saying shon is also acceptable. Completion or completion.
All right, completion or completion. Got it, Willice. Moving on to this other word.
That is it, Betty.
All right. Okay, Willice. Let's move on to this other word, and I'll spell it out. E-X-C-E-R-P-T. Except. Which is the correct pronunciation?
Oh, except. Except. An except.
All right. All right. I was thinking it's going to be except. You always have these surprises, Willice, but except it is.
No, except.
All right, Willice. Moving on to this other word. We've seen it quite a number of times in the last couple of days in the social media, newspapers. A-T-H-E-I-S-T. How do we go about that one?
Or for somebody who doesn't believe in the existence of God, which may be unfortunate, but you say atheist. What many people may say is atheist. That is a bit common, locally.
Atheist.
But letter A takes its name, you say atheist. Atheist, not atheist. I know that one must be, a surprise for tonight before we get to the real surprise word.
Right, Willice. So it's atheist. Moving on to this other word, commensurate.
Atheist.
Atheist. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
Atheist. Got it. Willice,
yes, atheist.
All right. Moving on to this other word, commensurate. Where do we put the stress if that is the correct pronunciation?
The stress is on the second syllable, that is men. Commensurate. Commensurate. Not commensurate. Not commensurate. No. Commensurate.
All right. So it's not commensurate. It's not sew but shoe. Commensurate.
Shoe. That S takes the sound sh, just like in the word sure or sugar. Commensurate.
Wow. That's a surprise, Willice. Then I have been wrong all my life since I started using this word. So it's commensurate and not commensurate.
It happens, Betty.
You even say it so proudly.
I always say nobody can be perfect.
Yeah. Got it,
Yes, there is a point you have there.
Yeah.
Somebody may say it so proudly.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes you may find somebody criticizing, ridiculing, or laughing at another person
Yeah.
for saying something without knowing that he or she is the one who is getting it wrong.
Right.
But it happens because not even Willis can be perfect. You know, languages are very wide in terms of the vocabulary.
Got it, Willis. So commensurate. Interesting.
Yes.
Moving on to this other word, seizure. Seizure or seizure.
Yes, you say seizure, seizure.
All right, seizure. Got it. Moving on to this other
Yes.
word, daunting. Daunting task. How do we go about that?
What we should avoid is saying daunting, no.
Okay.
You say daunting. A and U combine to form the long vowel sound O. So you say daunting, just like in
Daunting.
August. We don't say August, it's August.
August.
But when we are referring to Parliament, you say August House, the August House.
All
But the
right.
month is August with a stress at the onset, Betty.
Wow. August house and not August house. And August
Yes.
is the month.
No.
All right, Willis. Moving
The
on.
month is August.
August.
But when you talk of the Parliament or when we talk of Parliament, you say August House.
August
so we should
House.
distinguish between the two.
All right, Willis. Moving on to
Yes.
this other one, fossils. Fossils. How do we say that, Will? Is that the correct pronunciation? We know it as fossils.
It's fossils. That I is not pronounced, Betty. You say fossils. So it's a consonant
Wow.
cluster or blend of sils. So you can try and say fossil, then fossils. Fossils. But when you find it, not
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
Remember, I always advise people that language is about communication. That is the essence or the importance of, any language on earth. So you can also say fossils. That is when you cannot produce fossils. Sils may be a bit tricky for many people, Betty, especially non-native speakers of English.
So let me try and see if I'm one of those who can't. Fossils. Is that correct?
No, you get it right. Betty, your English, you know about it. It's always good.
So it's fossils.
Especially when you get
That's so
the
much
correct
pressure.
guidance on how to pronounce a word. Fossils.
Fossils. Yeah? Is that correct? Fossils.
Yes, sils.
Fossils. Willis, I'm telling you, this English, I don't know where it came from. Moving on to the other one, Willis. You make English sound so scientific. It's not the same English that, normal people like us speak. Yours is at a different
Betty,
level.
when you don't know certain things, especially when you are learning,
Yeah.
you may remember when you first joined maybe pre-primary school, there are certain things that could sound, sometimes you talk of rocket science, but later you realize these are just simple things. But
Yeah.
nobody knows everything. That is what I always insist on. So
Okay.
it may sound scientific, but in a way it's also scientific. Like if I were to take you through what we call now phonetics, that is the speech sounds and the way they are produced. When I talk of labiodentals, I talk of alveolars and the rest, you may say now,
Wow.
that is some science, but that is a topic or a subject for maybe another day.
Hey, Willis, when you start mentioning some names, we get chills. We're already struggling with fossils. So, yeah, so we're good. Let's just learn the basics first.
Anyway, take it easy, Betty.
Let me take it easy for sure. Willis, moving on to this other word.
Yes.
Nausea.
Oh, that one has, alternative pronunciations. There are two. You can say nausea. You can also say nausea. So you can use the voiced sound z
Nausea.
by saying nausea. But you can also use the voiceless or the unvoiced sound s, like an S. You say also nausea. Nausea. So those are alternatives. And both
Nausea.
are acceptable.
I think I'll stick to nausea. Is that the first pronunciation apart from nausea?
Nausea.
Nausea. All right, that sounds much
Yeah.
better. Nausea sounds like you're speaking Swahili or something, Willis. So I'll stick to nausea.
Coming from Betty Chalo. That is coming from Betty.
Yeah, that's from me, Willis. I'll use nausea, not
Yes.
nausea. Okay. Moving on, Willis. So we
Yes.
get straight to our feedback question, and this time it comes from Jacob or Jacob. You know, even now I'm not sure about myself. Is it Jacob or
Oh,
Jacob?
you say Jacob.
Okay.
Jacob.
Jacob Musioka. At least I know Musioka, but then so it's Jacob.
Jacob Musioka.
Yeah, Musioka
Yes.
of Nairobi. He's asking about SUE. Sue, Sue, which is which?
Oh, that word also has two acceptable pronunciations as alternatives. You
Okay.
can say to sue somebody,
Uh-huh.
sue that is with the long vowel sound oo, and you
Ooh.
can also say see you, to see you. Just like suit, that is S-U-I-T, you can also say suit. Suit, suit. Sue, sue. Both pronunciations are acceptable
Wow.
as alternatives. And maybe now, if I would go straight, because of time, straight to the other feedback questions.
Yeah.
We have David Omato, Baba Baraka, and Deborah Debbie. Oh, you say English. English. Don't say English. Bet you catch that? Not English.
Who says English,
It's
Willis?
English.
English. Yeah.
I once even heard of Igiris, and I said, anyway, sometimes let English be English.
That's
but
called Shida
David
ya
Omato,
matamshi.
Baba Baraka, and Deborah, it's English. Helen Ngeno of Kericho, you say comrade. Comrade, not comrade. Many people say comrade, which is not there. The word is comrade. So Helen Ngeno of Kericho, there you are. Carol Mirara, multi, and concoction.
Concoction.
Not concoction. Concoction, yes.
Concoction.
And then multi, sometimes you may hear of multi, and that would be like, in most cases, the American English or the American pronunciation or any other regional variety, but letter U takes the mid-central vowel sound, multi,
Multi.
culture, vulture, not vulture, culture, multi, no,
Okay.
multi.
Multi.
Samson Bwire, Dismas Munyobi, and Steve Wanjawa, you say cucumber, not shoshomba, not kakamba, not cucumber. You say cucumber.
Hi, Willis.
Then
Wait.
Kevin, you say dormitory. I wait a bit, Betty. Something is
No, it's that pronunciation.
happening.
Cucumber, not cucumber, you said. That's,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's cucumber, not cucumber, not kakamba. And a friend of mine also cracked a joke one time that he may hear of shoshomba. These things happen, but English.
Where do these things happen?
Should be English.
Shoshom, that's okay, but anyway, we're
They
here to
happen.
learn. Yeah, we're here to learn.
Betty, they happen anywhere in the world. You know, sometimes people think that it's only in Africa where we have pronunciation problems.
Yeah.
Wait until you meet some people maybe from other countries outside England, and sometimes even within England, not everybody speaks or pronounces words correctly. So that's why I say nobody is perfect. So Kevin, you say dormitory.
Okay.
Dormitory. Samson Mwebi and Patrick Oundo, hyena, not hyena. Hyena.
Hyena.
Hyena. Many people find themselves saying hyena, or
Hyena.
hyena. But
Or
please, we
feces.
should get it right. That
Right.
is hyena. Mary Wafula of Kakamega, trauma. Trauma, not trauma. But trauma, sometimes when you listen to the American English, you may find the pronunciation being used. But A and U form the long vowel sound O.
Oh.
Trauma.
Trauma.
Julius Onsongo of Gesonso, Kisi. Julius
Yes.
Onsongo, you say an apple. Letter is A. That is the first letter. It's A.
Apple.
But don't say apple. You say an apple.
An apple.
Just like arrow. Arrow also begins with letter A, but the sound value is A. Apple. Arrow. Duncan Kipto, lambast, and hyperbole. hyperbole. Then Mezil Paulo, you say ultimatum. And we have Mustafa Nyapara, you say pier, P-I-E-R, you say pier, not pyre, and you also say usurp. Hemston Abira, bizarre, bizarre incident. And Ahmed Guhad, asinine, Jack Brian Onganya, Pala, Jeffrey Nzia. By the way, Betty, I have to repeat, we don't say Geoffrey, we don't say Geoffrey. You say Jeffrey. Jeffrey. That name is a bit tricky. It's Jeffrey Nzia of Embakasi. You say exaggeration. Finally, Patricia Okech. Patricia Okech, yeah, exaggeration.
Okay.
You see, like sometimes somebody may exaggerate, like when you use artificial accent, when it's too much, then you say to exaggerate. Or when you tell a story in an exaggerated way, you just be accurate.
Okay.
Being accurate means a lot. Anyway, Patricia Okech, you say digestion.
Digestion.
Digestion. And Betty, I think our dear viewers will also benefit from this. That S-T-I-O-N is, or takes the sounding schon. Schon. Not shon or son. So don't say digestion, don't say digestion, you say digestion.
Okay.
Question, congestion, and suggestion. So that does it for that part of the feedback questions.
Okay.
Now, we come to the surprise word for tonight, Betty.
Yeah.
It looks simple, but many people would get it wrong. This word is regime. Regime. Letter G takes the sound J. Regime. Regime, not regime. Okay. Many talk about regime or regime. It's regime. So that letter G takes the sound J. Just like in the word beige, you don't say beige. Beige. I would show that.
That's a surprise.
I would show that, though it's upside down, but let me show it. Beige, of that color, beige. Not beige or beige, no, beige. Then cottage. Cottage, not cottage. Many people say the cottage leaves Chiromo mortuary, but it's cottage, not cottage.
Wow.
Then protege, not protege. Protege is commonly used locally, but it's protege. Tricky words which are of, French origin. So that letter G, we should know how to pronounce it, just like in mirage. Then before I run away or before I walk out of the studio, we have freight and fright. Freight, that is the upper word, freight. Then the lower word, fright. Okay. They are different in pronunciation. These words are not homophones.
Right.
For more questions, our dear viewers.
Willice, I'm telling you.
Willice Ochieng 1. At Willice Ochieng 1. Betty, how are you?
Willie, I don't even know how I am. I feel like I've taken that train from Syokimau to Mombasa. Learning all these words, Willice. But it's interesting to hear that you say exaggeration and not exaggeration. I've learned something there.
No, not exa. Yes,
Exaggeration. And then fossil, yeah?
Yes.
At least I know something different.
Fossils.
Fossil. All right, Willice, thank you so much. Remember that you can ask Willice any other question that you have. Question that you have on his Twitter handle at Willice Ochieng 1. That's on Twitter. And or you can just wait and for Friday briefing next Friday. Every Friday he's here to teach us those difficult pronunciations. Willice, thank you very much for tonight's lesson.
That is it.
All right, Willice.
My pleasure, Betty.
Okay. All right, so that has been Mind Your Language. Remember that this segment comes here on the show at this time on Friday briefing every Friday. All right, that has been Mind Your Language.